to get through this week and Talladega next week, because anything can happen to Talladega, and anything could happen here. You know, just even something as simple as a flat tire and being put a lap down can ruin the day. So that was awesome to win last week, and we have a pretty good car for today, so we're going to go for it. We're not going to hold back.
Penske's got good cars this week.
Yeah, they're a lot of speed, a lot of speed.
Even though that you guys are confirmed now, have you guys shifted any resources around the two car at all?
They do that every week. If one car is running better than the other, then after the practices, they always get together and try to figure out how to make each other better. Sometimes they can, and sometimes they can't, because most of the things that make the big difference are bolt-on, suspension, shock, springs. So, yeah, we might try something that's off the wall. You know, that might have been why we didn't qualify as well as we should have. Just trying a little something different for later, and Brad qualified well. So we go in between and help each other a lot every week.
See, now I was teasing people that it's karma that Joey can block for Brad next week. Talladega, right?
Yes.
Talks about karma.
Yes. That is hard to do.
You know,
that is hard to do.
Mary's joking to Joey about that. Anybody else have a question for Tad?
Are there any team orders other than don't help each other?
No, I mean, being a team, you want to help each other anyway, and that's where a lot of teams, especially teams that have 4 cars, it's hard to help. It's hard to help a specific person at any track, much less Talladega, because the passing is so hard. It's hard to hook up with somebody if you're in the mix. So you want to help your teammate, but if you don't, it's not a big thing.
Which like track is the most difficult to spot it?
I think that the shorter tracks are, because the speeds are a little slower. Martinsville is probably the hardest track, because every corner, every lap, somebody's trying to dive bomb you, or nudge you or bump you. So, in that place, it's understood where you can rub and bump and touch and not wreck. So that's one reason I like it, even though it's so hard to spot, because they try to fake each other out too. Sometimes they don't have a legit run, and they'll move down to try to fool the guy into thinking that he's got a run to be inside. But a lot of times they slam the door and then they touch, but the speeds aren't so fast, they can rub and bump and slide and not wreck. So that's what I like. That's kind of what all of us grew up doing, the short track racing. So that's fun. But here is awesome also, because the speeds are high. Today you'll see, yesterday you saw a lot of it in the Xfinity race, the cars started using a lot more track. And that, over time, when the tires start wearing out, using more track allows you to keep the momentum without binding the car down and the car's sliding. So you just slide it all over the top and carry the momentum. So today with the Cup cars, you'll see them all the way against the wall, both ends. So it'll be good. But the guys that can run both will be the ones that prevail. The people that can run the bottom and make up good lap times and pass will be good. But some people will only be able to run one lane, and that's the big challenge, is fixing your car where you can do both, and that's difficult.
I have a question for you. You ran a race last year, right? You drove in a race.
Oh yeah, this year.
And Logano was your spotter, right?
Yep.
How did that work
good
out?
as a spotter?
It was a different being roles reversed. I'm like, come on, man, talk to me. But yeah, that was a cool deal, just having him there and just reversing the roles. What I drove was a street stock, just a simple car, but it was fun to be there and do that and have him be at the track. So it's pretty cool.
I love listening to like Talladega races and Daytona with the spotters, because it's non-stop.
It's crazy. And today will be a pretty busy day because of the multiple grooves and moving around. You really have to keep the driver updated on who's running what, because a guy can be following you for 10 laps in a row, and then if he swaps lanes one time and finds a run, then you've got to be on it. So you just have to keep them updated, because they're going to do everything they can. You'll see people swapping lanes every corner, just trying to find just a little something, and it'll change all throughout the race. So that's what makes these guys so good, being able to know what they need and where they need to run.
And the cooler weather will make it.
Yeah, the cooler weather always makes them run good. Yeah.
After going through the changed last year? What do you think is the most important thing you learned to help you out for this year?
You know, just being consistent and not letting. Some people have to run top 10 to transfer, so that's one good cushion that we have for the next 2 races is not having to do that. But there's some guys that have a lot of pressure, so you got to understand who's in what position. There's some guys that are going to be desperate and have to finish ahead of you, so you might pick your battles wisely. Don't be racing somebody that has nothing to lose. So that's probably the biggest thing we learn is just do the best you can. And it's crazy that it comes down to one race. That's the hard part, but because you can do everything right, and then that one race is where you have to be perfect. So it just the experience of it and being there last year is probably the biggest plus.
Next week's going to be really scary.
So is it your job to tell Joey to remember, or do you not, or is that not?
Yeah, like at Dover, we were in that situation. We were in good shape, but we just had to have a decent finish. But the 88, the 1, a lot of those guys had to finish in front of us to get the amount of points. And so it's not that we let them go, but we didn't race them hard. So that was one example of being careful and not racing those guys who were like, you know what, boom, and wreck it. Yeah, so.
Should have held up the 88 just a little bit more.
I know. We try not to pick favorites. We try to just treat everybody in that situation equal. So.
My husband and I were yelling at the TV, we love you, Jamie, but no.
Yeah.
How do you think next week will play out as far as laying back?
It all depends on the situation that the different people have. He has, if anybody, the situation that people will lay back at Talladega. And sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad. If people, you can run 400 miles laying back in the back, but you don't have the experience of what the draft is doing that day. So to me, every single race has its own characteristic. Some things might be happening that not normally happens, and then that's when you see a wreck whenever somebody that hasn't been in the draft all day comes up and gets in the middle of it and don't do something right. So there'll be some people that do that, but I like that Joey and our crew chief and everybody, we just go for it. Try to win the race and try to lead as many laps as you can. So that's the approach we're going to take.
Does having the restart line now painted on the track make any difference for you or the driver?
I like it. I like being able to see it, and I like that everybody can see it. I love the double zone. I like, because before, if you were the leader, you were at a disadvantage because there was such a small window of when the leader was going to go. Everybody could time it out but him, so they could run up on him and get a run. So now it opened that zone up, and the restarts are a little less predictable. They have a big window of going quick, middle, or late, and I like it.
I love how they have it here on the track. They've got the big restart.
Yeah.
They have it on the grass.
Yeah, it almost looks like
set at the restart line. It looks like
it looks like a football game where things are superimposed on the grass. Yeah, I like it. I like it having painted on there.
So there's no question.
There'll always be a question. There's always a question.
It's NASCAR. There won't.
All right, we got 2 charges.